Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm naming this house Nerdy, and today I'll be talking about reviewing No Way Home. I'll be going over the film in general, but I'll also be talking about some of the biggest questions that the film answered, my favorite parts in the film, but I'll also be talking about where this movie ranks as not only as a Spider-Man film, but a movie in the MCU. So with all that said, let's get into it. So starting off, I love the relationship that they built between Ned, MJ, and Peter. I thought it was great throughout the whole film, and it really was important because it was the crux of the film. And I really like the fact that Peter went so hard for his friends and really didn't want their futures and their lives to be ruined just because they knew he was Spider-Man and he was trying to do his own thing. That was him. And you saw really with the end of the movie, without spoiling it or getting ahead of myself, that he really loves his friends and that he cares so deeply about them and he wants them to just live a normal life. And a relationship I might love even more is the relationship between Doctor Strange and Peter, because I thought it was handled just as perfectly as the relationship between Peter, MJ, and Ned. Because you saw in the beginning how Peter and Doctor Strange, they were kind of more friendly. He was saying, call me Steven. They were having a good time. And then he botched a spell and he was more stern, more lectury, more paternal figure type role, type situation. And then you saw him towards the end, how sad he was, and him go back to being more of a friend and more of a mentor. And I thought that was really good. And I do think in the future we'll see that again, even though, like I said, in the movie it's crazy. But I think they will have more interactions in the future. They will be really funny and really cool, and because I think Doctor Strange, him and Peter will meet up again, and it will just be just as good, maybe even better. And another part of this film that was so great and so amazing were the villains. I mean, William Dafoe nailed it, killed it. I loved his innocence as Norman Osborn. Then was the Green Goblin. He just was a crazy psychopath who didn't care what was happening, what was going on. He just was chaos in a human form. And then you had Alfred Molina just looking like and feeling like and acting like he was ripped out straight from the Spider-Man 2 film with Tobey Maguire, and it just was so great. And then of course you have Jamie Foxx, who was perfection. He was the Jamie Foxx he should have been in TASM 2. He was great. He killed the role. I love Jamie Foxx as an actor, and I really would see more of him, you know what I mean? Maybe there's a variant Jamie Foxx in like a Miles Morales universe. Maybe we see him in Across the Spider-Verse. I don't know. Their possibilities are endless now. But I loved all the villains, even Flint, Marco, even the Lizard. It was all great, and I loved it, and I had a really good time seeing all these villains interact with each other, interact with Spider-Man. Not even, it might have been for a long time with all three of them, but it was long enough, and I really enjoyed it. But another aspect of this film that I enjoyed a lot and so much, and I really wanted and I really was hoping for in this film, and they delivered on it so great, was Tom Holland Spider-Man. And the growth and the development that the character went through, and just like it was so great, and they did it so well, and they set him up to be such a good Spider-Man at the end of this film. And I'm so grateful for John Watts, for Sony, for Marvel. Like, they are doing the thing with Peter Parker, Tom Holland, that we've all wanted. It solves a lot of problems that people had with this character going into this film. Like, they put him through the ringer, they put him through so much struggle, so much pain, so much loss, just so many things that is so intrinsic to the character. They gave the character finally, and now he's on his own, he's doing his thing, and I just love it. I applaud Sony, I applaud Marvel for doing this and just really committing to making this Spider-Man really good, because I think he could be a great Spider-Man. I think he could be a perfect Spider-Man. I think he's a better Spider-Man than Tobey, but Tobey's Peter Parker, to me, is just perfection, right? But I think Tom Holland has a nice balance between Spider-Man and Peter Parker that I really enjoy, and I think they can really, with the college trilogy that's rumored to be happening in the MCU coming up, so I think it'd be great. And I really want to applaud Tom Holland because he did his thing. He acted his butt off in this film. He did a lot of great things with this character, and I'm really happy. I still have Tobey as my favorite Spider-Man. I don't know if that will ever change, but Tom Holland is really making it hard to not choose him because he's doing the thing. And after this trilogy, I think we're going to see him Across the Spider-Verse. I think we're going to see him in Venom 3 and other Sony projects. So I'm excited to see how much he can expand and grow the character, and if he can treat it like a Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man, and if he gets like a decade-long experience with the character and really getting able to study the character and really dive deep into the character, I think would be a great thing for not only the MCU, but just fans of Marvel in general. Now, the next big thing we're going to talk about kind of goes hand in hand with Tom Holland, and it is the writing for this movie. It is so perfect. The writing for this movie is so great, and I'm talking acts through 1 through 3. All right, like we're talking the whole movie is really well written, and I like what they did with a lot of things. But that third act is just amazing. It's perfectly written. The things, the nerdiness, the sweatiness, the fan service is delivered in a perfect way. Kind of the opposite of the Han Solo movie, right? Like it doesn't feel checklisty. It doesn't feel like just weird. The acting was like, it meshed perfectly. Andrew, Tobey, and Tom were great together. Like it was just great writing, and I think they really did their thing, and those writers deserve a round of applause and an Oscar nominee. By far, they did their thing. They made the best movie, the best act of a movie by far this year, and maybe one of the best comic book acts ever. Endgame's up there, the third act of Endgame. Infinity War's up there, the third act of that, and maybe the first and second act of that movie is really good. But like, this movie is on that level, and it's the writers, they deserve a lot of credit. And finally, the thing that we all loved and were waiting to see and just needed was Tobey and Andrew. And we've known about this for what, 2 years now? That's how long we've been speculating that they were in the movie? That this was the first time we were going to see not only Spider-Verse IRL, but people from different franchises cameoing in live action. Like, we're going to see that in IRL. Oh my God, this movie is going to be Endgame level. It's going to be Infinity War level. It's going to be Zack Snyder Justice League level. That's the level. Because like, when you hear Spider-Verse IRL for the first time, and then it's executed this way, oh my God, like this movie is going to break as many, like if it wasn't the pandemic, it would probably break Endgame. That's how crazy hype this movie is. And one of the main contributing factors, maybe the main contributing factor, is Tobey and Andrew. Because people have wanted to see these three Spider-Man since Tom Holland was introduced to MCU in Civil War. That's how long. Because all three of these Spider-Man have a group of people like that love them. Like, I love Andrew Spider-Man. I think it was a really good Spider-Man. Maybe his Peter Parker was a little too cool guy for me. I think it still kind of worked. And I love Tobey. Like I said, he's my favorite Spider-Man. I love those movies. Those are great movies. And they have a lot of nostalgia about it. Like I said earlier, Tom is a perfect balance between Spider-Man, Peter Parker. They showed his scientific side in this film, which I really loved, and I hope to see more. I think this was perfection, and I think they executed it so well, and I can't wait to see more of them in the future. There's more people from different franchises cameoing, like maybe a Hannibal King, Ryan Reynolds, because we're getting Deadpool, or maybe a Chris Evans, Johnny Storm that people have wanted for forever because he was great in that. Overall, just in general, I think this film is a really, 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 really shining example of this is how you can do multiversal variants in live action. And I think it's really priming us for Venom 3 and all that Sony stuff, but Secret Wars, because we're going to be seeing a lot of this happen. Be Tobey and Andrew again in Secret Wars. Just a lot of crazy stuff. You got to get people ready for that. You got to get people okay seeing that and not have it just take them out of it and be them being confused and just not understanding what's going on, right? So I think this movie does a great job of that, and Tobey and Andrew are perfect. Like, you ripped them right out of their movie universes. The same guys, they really brought it, and especially Andrew in those scenes. He was talking about Gwen, and they were bonding, and you saw like he was like, I'm not that cool. My universe is not that. I fought a Russian guy in a rhino suit. Like, just great lines like that, and I think they all really brought it. Tobey and Andrew did their thing, and I love that third act so much. They were a big, big part of it. It's top-notch stuff from everybody all around. So to end this video off, I think this film was like a 10 out of 10 level film. Like, it was really good. It's probably the best Spider-Man film ever, and it's probably a top 3 MCU film. It's probably not better than Endgame, Infinity War, but those hold a special place in my heart. I think those are great films, but this film is right up there with. It did a lot of great things. It set us up for like crazy stuff in the future with cameos and people coming in. We also got the Charlie Cox cameo that I didn't really talk much about, and that was amazing. It wasn't that big, but it was crazy because like, it's Daredevil and he's in MC. Like, we saw him. Like, it's just a good thing to actually physically see. So I'm really excited about that. I think this film did a lot of just special things for Marvel fans, and I really think everybody involved deserves to be celebrated. Amy Pascal, Kevin Feige, the actors, the crew, writers, the John Watts, who I can't wait for his Fantastic Four movie now, which I think Spider-Man is going to be in, by the way. That might be a whole different video. And I'm really grateful that they gave us this type of film. It's really special. It's one of the biggest films since maybe like a Zack Snyder Justice League, right? But like, it's a different beast, right? It's Spider-Man Endgame. John Watts said it best. It was so perfect. It's exactly what I wanted it to be, and also maybe even better in some ways, right? And I love what they did at the end with Peter. I think we're going to get a very comic accurate Peter Parker in the MCU going forward, and I just can't wait. I'm so excited, and I think Marvel just knocked it out the park with this one. Like I said earlier, 10 out of 10. If you agree or disagree, leave your opinions down below. Peace out.